Pivot correction is essential when you notice a significant offset between the animation's final and initial positions. To spot such issues, focus on the character's feet. Typically, animations should maintain a similar, if not identical, position and posture at both the start and end of each animation. In my hit reaction animation, this problem exists. To address it, select the animation clip on the timeline and go to Advanced Properties, where you'll find a button to create pivots. I'll briefly organize the scene. I'll create null objects to manage the pivots, animations, and my character with the bones in the T-pose. Remember that each motion clip label in each animation has its timeline, accessed similarly. But we won't see our primary edit since we've created it within the label contained in our original pose. I'll keep the mesh with the bones within the same group. Next, I'll name the pivot I created, but I'll delete it. Creating it at the start of its respective animation is more appropriate. Also, note that the pivot is created at the position of the parent bone, at the current timeline position. So, create the pivot, name it, and parent it to the designated group. To animate it, use the global transformation function to move it along the appropriate axis. Locate the exact frame where your character is about to lift the second supporting foot and create a keyframe for the Z transformation axis. Move the pivot as close as possible to the initial position and create a new keyframe when the character has both feet on the ground. If you want to adjust the animation curve you've created, right-click the animated property and in the animation menu, select Show F-Curve. I'll adjust the second keyframe to reach the position before it appears to slide on the surface. With experience, you'll recognize when an animation appears to slide and learn to correct it easily. Once you have your first pivot ready, go back to the timeline and look for other animations that need correction. My animation of falling backward needs a pivot to end closer to the center. This is relevant because I have an animation for getting up from the ground, where the final position should be close to the initial position of the getting up animation. The process is the same. Create a pivot for the respective clip, make a keyframe when the feet are about to lift, and create a keyframe when it shouldn't move anymore. In this case, when both feet make contact and there should be no more backward movement. I'll adjust the animation curve to specify the exact moment when my pivot shouldn't move any further. Lastly, I'll make a final adjustment to the getting up animation to start a bit closer to the previous animation. Remember to name and organize the pivots in their respective groups to maintain project organization. You can hide them to avoid cluttering the editor's visibility. To summarize, pay attention to your character's foot position, ensuring it's similar at the start and end. Create pivots for problematic clips and animate the pivot position when the initial support is lifted from the ground. Then, create a keyframe when the support regains contact. Adjust animation curves to refine the pivot animation. In the next lesson, we'll configure cameras and output options for platform genres.